Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another live stream. It is the live game review of our absolutely heartbreaking Carabao Cup quarter-final defeat yesterday to Leicester City at Goodison Park. Duncan Ferguson suffering his first loss as Everton manager despite not losing over 90 minutes. Still hasn't lost a game over 90 minutes as Everton manager, and considering the games that we've played over the last couple of weeks, Chelsea at home, Manchester United away, Leicester at home, it is quite astounding that Duncan Ferguson's managed to keep that record. Obviously two draws and a win over the 90 minutes, but it did go to penalties yesterday as cup ties do, and we did end up losing on penalties after what was an absolutely fantastic comeback. Showed load of fight, showed passion, showed urgency, and showed that willingness to get back into a game of football, which is something that we didn't see very often under Marco Silva, and we haven't seen very often, let's be real, under a lot of the previous managers. We reference Marco Silva's tenure at Goodison a lot because obviously it's the most recent one and it's the one that we've just come out of, but we didn't really see any comebacks like that under Ronald Koeman. Didn't see many of them under Roberto Martinez either, so it was a real good comeback. Like I said, I do apologise that there wasn't an instant match reaction to yesterday's game. I wasn't actually at yesterday's game. I missed it because I double booked myself and ended up booking one of my Christmas presents in for last night. So I went to that and I missed the game. But I have since watched the highlights and I have since seen some of the key moments, and I've taken from what everybody else has said, from what family that I've spoken to that I went to the game have said, and from what I've seen is that the first half pretty much we were poor on the ball, we couldn't control the game, we couldn't get our foot down. The highlights are all Leicester breaking, Leicester creating opportunities, obviously going 2-0 up, and two goals for me that could have been easily avoidable on any other day. A James Maddison effort that he hits from 15, 20, 25 yards. Again, he's given a load of space to hit the ball, a little bit similarly to the Mason Greenwood goal against Manchester United last weekend. Given a load of space, sees a corner and puts it in there. And for me, we should be doing better in defending those kind of chances, because players with the ability of Mason Greenwood and players with the ability of James Maddison, they only need that little tiny pocket of space, they only need that little gap, and they'll fit the ball through, and it becomes really difficult then to defend against that. And then obviously the second goal for me is absolutely woeful. It's a woeful goal to concede. I really don't know what Michael Keane's doing. It's a corner ball, and I don't really know whether Duncan Ferguson's told the lads to continue with the zonal marking stuff, or whether Duncan Ferguson's purely based it on man-to-man marking. But regardless of whether it's zonal marking or man-to-man marking, Michael Keane A, leaves his man, and B, leaves his zone, because he's standing right next to Johnny Evans pretty much for the entire build-up of the corner, and as soon as the ball gets ready to be swung in, he just runs and stands behind Yerry Mina, as if to say, I don't want any involvement in this situation, so I'm just going to stand behind him. He leaves Johnny Evans, and Johnny Evans has got all the room in the world to put the ball in the back of the net. And yes, it's a fantastic delivery, and you could say it's a good goal in a Leicester point of view, but for me defensively it was absolutely shocking. And Duncan Ferguson got the lads into the changing room at half time, and I think the reason as to why we were so off the pace, I think we would say, and not competing at maybe the level that we would have expected, not competing at the level that we had over the last week or so against Manchester United and Chelsea, is because there's only so much these players can do at this level, and it's very clear, and it's become very clear after the Chelsea game and after the Man United game, that the players aren't used to playing at this intensity. We come off the back of a fantastic win against Chelsea, and Theo Walcott's out for 2 weeks, Morgan Schneiderlin's out for 3 weeks. Neither of those players got injuries in the game. Those players are out because their bodies haven't been used to working that hard. Luca Dean obviously went off in that game, played against Manchester United, only spent 20 minutes on the pitch, then come off. Leighton Baines had to replace him. He's not used to playing at that level, so it was always going to be a case of trying to keep that intensity up consistently, especially twice within 2 or 3 days. You were always going to get a drop in that intensity because the players just couldn't keep up with it. And I think that's what we've seen in the first half. We've seen a lot of sloppy passing, a lot of sloppy playing. We've seen the players sort of come down a little bit and think, I can't continue how we've been playing. We literally only had a game 2 or 3 days ago. I can't continue at that level now. And I think Duncan Ferguson got them into the changing room at half time, and I think he actually put some decent tactics into play, and I think he actually thought about this. And people have been quick to on social media, whether it be Everton fans or non-Everton fans, jump on Duncan Ferguson and say, oh, he's only got the passion, that's all he's about, he's all about the passion, 4-4-2, he doesn't have a clue managerial. But against Manchester United, I think Duncan Ferguson made some real good tactical differences to the game, and one of them being at the start of the game when he didn't tell anybody what the formation was going to be. And I think that's a real smart tactical move for me, because then that leaves absolutely no it leaves no chance for Manchester United's dressing room and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to think, well, here's how we're going to defend against it, because he goes, right, it's 5 at the back, and then Dunk goes, no, 4 at the back and Mason Holgate's in midfield, and Manchester United struggled to deal with that. I think he done a very similar yesterday at, at half-time. Obviously, the players come out and it was like a different beast. Don't get me wrong, we were still allowing Leicester in at times, and we were still, letting the ball come over the top and letting the ball get through us. Obviously, James Coleman trying to go one-on-one, pace-wise with Jamie Vardy is the most baffling thing I think I've ever seen. I don't know how he thought he was going to win that race, but obviously Jamie Vardy gets the better than him, he passes it off, and, Leicester at the bar. Leicester had another opportunity, I think, James Maddison, that went one-on-one with Pickford, and Pickford made a good save. So, Leicester, are probably fair to say, had the more of the opportunities yesterday, but again, the most sort of important thing to take out of yesterday's game, and I think the thing that we all took out of yesterday's game was that the players didn't give up, the players didn't back down, the players didn't let their heads drop and sulk, and didn't go in at half time and think, right, this is over, so I'm not even going to try in the second half. Duncan Ferguson obviously had them in at half time, and he obviously said to them, listen, that was nowhere near good enough. However, go out, start fighting, start pressing, start doing what you've been doing for the last 2 weeks. I know it's massively difficult. I know it's hard because, maintaining that level of play and maintaining that level of fitness is going to be tough for a team that very clearly aren't used to maintaining that level of fitness. But, Duncan Ferguson's coming out at the end of the game and saying there's players in there and genuine tears. It was absolutely heartbreaking for us to get back into the game like that. 2 really, really good goals and absolutely a world-class finish by Leighton Baines. And for me, I said it on Twitter yesterday, the lad is the best left-back in the Premier League era. I don't give a shit when anybody says. He is absolutely unbelievable. He's 35 years old. He's still running around like, obviously players are going to get the pace of him a couple of times because he's 35 years old, but he's still getting up and down the pitch, and he's still putting balls into the back of the net like he prime Roberto Carlos, like he's 23. He's absolutely fantastic. And, like I said, players were in the dressing room supposedly at the end of the game in tears, crying, really, really upset. Tom Davis said it was horrible. It was it was horrible to lose that way. And 4 or 5 weeks ago, you seen Everton players lose a game against the likes of Norwich, Sheffield United, Aston Villa, and walk off the pitch as if they weren't asked, going home as if they weren't asked, as if they didn't care, as if they had nothing to fight for, nothing to play for. Now they're losing a game of football and they're going off genuinely gutted. And you know what? It's never nice to see players, frustrated. It's never nice to see players upset. But that's how every single fan in that stadium felt. That's how I felt when I come out and seen, oh my God, we've come back into this game, it's 2-2, only to see, us lose on penalties. That's how every Evertonian felt last night. And, to hear that the players are feeling that same emotion, it makes you think that there really is that feeling back at Everton now, that togetherness between the players, between the manager, and between, the fans. And that's exactly what Duncan Ferguson has brought to this table. Don't get me wrong, over 3 games, he's done absolutely fantastic to get, a win and 2 draws out against, 3 of the best teams in England at the minute. Only having the team for about 2 weeks' time. But for me, it's that feeling of, it's like we've got our Everton back now. It's like you go to Goodison Park and at the very, very least, if the players lack quality, which some of them do at times, if the players, lack the ability, at the very, very least, they're going to pick their head up and they're going to run around for you and they're going to try their absolute hardest and they're going to fight. And that's exactly what they done in the second half of that game. Big shout out to Moise Kean, by the way. Moise Kean could have turned around yesterday and said, I don't fancy this, I've been embarrassed last week. The fans, on social media, the fans weren't necessarily on my side, so I'm just going to stroll around like I'm not asked. But he didn't. He got up and he had to go, and he was consistently pushing and he was holding the ball up and he got his head up and he worked hard. And if Moise Kean keeps working to that level, he will be a success at Everton, I promise you, especially if Carlo Ancelotti's to come in and work with him, because I think that would be a really, really good partnership. But like I said, I just want to thank Duncan Ferguson for bringing that feeling back to Goodison Park, because even though it was ultimately disappointing yesterday, and even though it was ultimately heartbreaking to see what happened and to see us lose on penalties and go out the Carabao Cup, it was the fight back that made you think this is our Everton. At half time, people were saying this is absolute shambles, end the game now, what's the point in it? After the second half, people were saying not only are we so unlucky there, but it's just nice to see Everton players fighting back, and nice to see Everton players getting themselves back into a game. Stats don't lie. We never won a game after going 1-0 behind under Marco Silva, and as much as we didn't win yesterday, and you might look at it and go, well, what's different to yesterday than it was under Marco Silva? We still didn't win. For me, it's not only, Marco Silva stat wasn't only we didn't win a game when we go 1-0 down under Marco Silva, it was as well as we didn't look arsed after we went 1-0 down under Marco Silva. We didn't look like we wanted to get back into the game. We didn't look like we cared. Whereas under Duncan Ferguson, every single one of them ran round yesterday, and every single one of those players showed that they cared and showed that they loved this football club, and that's exactly what you want to see. Like I said, we understand that there's going to be games where we're beaten, there's going to be games where other teams get the better of us, and Leicester, for me, yesterday had the better of us, yet we scored 2 very, very good goals, and we fought, a lot to get back into the game, but the majority of the chances were coming from Leicester. They were creating opportunities, they were breaking with pace, because they're a fantastic team, but we never, ever, ever give up, and, even to the 91st minute when Leighton Baines is rocketing one into the top left-hand corner, like vintage Leighton Baines does. I'm absolutely gutted that I wasn't at the game yesterday. I'm absolutely gutted watching that goal, and that it was in the Park End. I sit in the Park End, seeing, the fans, seeing the limbs, 91st minute of a cup quarter-final to get us back into it. I'm absolutely fucking gutted that I wasn't there yesterday, but it's that type of fight, it's that type of passion that you sit back, and of course for the first hour or so after the game you're disappointed, you're a little bit upset because you're out the cup, but then when you start thinking about it again, and when you start reviewing it back, you think, what, I'm genuinely proud of the lads there, I'm genuinely proud of them, and to hear that a lot of the lads were again in the changing rooms, again upset, not happy with themselves, and upset about the result, it just shows that they care as well, because that's what you want to see. I know it's not nice to see people upset, but we didn't want to hear yesterday we didn't want to see yesterday, rather, us sitting there massively upset that we've lost a game of football, and then Dominic Calvert-Lewin walking out the stadium smiling and having a laugh, and having a little joke, or Moise Keane having a little laugh. That you want to see that emotion that we're feeling, being portrayed in the players as well, because it shows exactly that they're feeling the same as us, and that was shown yesterday, and for me that's what Duncan Ferguson's brought back into this team, and in what looks like probably the last game for Duncan Ferguson on Saturday against Arsenal. Obviously the Carlo Ancelotti rumours are really, really heating up now. Sky Sports reporting that it's all done and dusted basically, and he's due to be announced as officially as Everton manager on Monday, and he will be in the stands for the Arsenal game watching. Obviously Duncan Ferguson will be taking over that game. Everton officially confirmed that Duncan Ferguson will manage that game, and I expect a massive reception and a massive reaction on Saturday afternoon. And don't get me wrong, listen, we weren't particularly shocking yesterday, and obviously we done really well to get back into the game, but we still need the reaction because ultimately we lost, and I really do expect a reaction against, let's be perfectly honest, a poor Arsenal team. And if that's Duncan Ferguson's last game in charge of Everton for the time being, and Carlo Ancelotti's in the stands, and we know Carlo Ancelotti's going to come in, there will be a massive reaction by the fans, and for me there'll be a massive reaction by the players, because they'll want to play for him, exactly like they did in the second half of yesterday's game. And I don't really necessarily think the first half was about not playing for Duncan Ferguson, or about not having it, or getting over that spell of that honeymoon spell, as some people thought, to say. I said on Twitter yesterday, I wondered after the first half whether it was a case of, players being a little bit distracted by the new manager talk, players, haven't focused on something else, because let's be honest, as fans, for the last 3 days, all we've been thinking about is, the possibility of Carlo Ancelotti coming in, the possibility of Zlatan Ibrahimovic coming in. We haven't really been focusing probably enough on the Carabao Cup quarter-final, and I was thinking maybe the players are in that sort of same mind frame, but it was very clear that they obviously just were struggling with fitness, and we're struggling with keeping up that level of intensity that Duncan Ferguson absolutely needs you to have, because he needs you to fight for that badge, and he needs you to fight for us fans. And that's why I absolutely thank Duncan Ferguson, because over the last 3 weeks, not just under Marco Silva, under Ronald Koeman, at times under Roberto Martinez towards the end of his career, Sam Allardyce as well. Let's be honest, we forgot what it was like to be an Evertonian. We forgot what it was like to go to Goodison Park and genuinely fall in love with what we were seeing, and be genuinely invested in the game, and everything. And what we've seen over the last 3 games is exactly that, being genuinely invested in the game, supporting your team until the very end, and the players believing in themselves as well. And that's exactly what they done yesterday. And in the end we were beaten in a penalty shootout, which could happen to any team in Wales football, can't it? And it's disappointing that we get back into a game like that and then lose on penalties, but you've still got to credit the team and the manager for getting back into the game the way that they did. Anyway, before we dive into the live comments, let me tweet this team out so everybody is watching. Like I said, I do apologise for the lack of instant match reaction yesterday. It's probably the only game I'll miss this season, poor planning by me, but whatever it is, what it is, isn't it? Let me know your thoughts on yesterday's game in the live comments as well. We'll be going through them in just a second. If you're watching and you're enjoying, please do hit that like button. I do apologise that the stream's a little bit later than usual as well. I had some things. I had to go for a meal for my nan's birthday with the family, so I do apologise that the stream's a little bit late. But we are here, we are talking about it. We'll have another live stream tomorrow as well, so if you haven't already subscribed and you're new to the channel, please do hit that subscribe button. We'll have the game preview to the Arsenal game tomorrow afternoon straight, about 6 PM, so don't forget to join us for that one, and then we'll definitely have an instant match reaction on Saturday to that game, and hopefully maybe a couple of more reactions from some other people as well if I can get them involved. What did potentially have them involved yesterday, but unfortunately that didn't work out. John says, hi mate, went to see Star Wars. I've never ever seen a Star Wars actually, and I probably shouldn't have said that because I'm going to get loads of jib now in the comments, but I've never actually seen a Star Wars. Is it any good? LCFC Boy says, even a lad unlucky about yesterday's result. Even a mate, hope you're doing well, and yeah, it was unlucky, but I'm sure you guys are in dream state at the minute. Wayne says, safe Cambo. Keenan Iwobi stunk out the place last night, get rid. Yeah, you know, Alex Iwobi again, he struggled, and he struggled against Manchester United, I think, on the ball. And I think what Alex Iwobi gives you is he gives you a lot of that ability to make space for other players and that ability to run around, and he's got that energy and he's got that intensity. Unfortunately, over the last couple of weeks, he has struggled when he's got the ball, and he has struggled to create opportunities. But I think that's something that, you know, the new manager's going to have to come in and work with, and, you know, Duncan Ferguson's going to have to work with on the training ground to make sure that he irons that out. You know, Carlo Ancelotti comes in, he's been apparently, according to the papers, promised that he's going to get a massive budget in January, that he's going to be able to bring Zlatan Ibrahimovic in. So it's all a little bit mad being an Evertonian at the minute, because if you'd have said to me 3 weeks ago, you know, when Marco Silva was in charge, after that Norwich game, if you'd have said to me, right Cam, I'm sitting you down now, and, you know, just after Christmas, which is in a couple of weeks, which, let's be honest, 3 weeks ago we were all shitting ourselves for Christmas because you've got to buy presents and cards and think about the turkey and think about your carrots and all that. If someone had said to me, right, just after Christmas, Cam, Carlo Ancelotti will be the Everton manager and Zlatan Ibrahimovic will be leading you into a Merseyside derby at Anfield, I think I'd have probably fell over and went, there's more chance of me getting a Lamborghini for Christmas, riding it down the road, and Zlatan Ibrahimovic getting in my Lamborghini and saying, alright fella. There's absolutely no chance that'd happen. But, you know, it looks like Carlo Ancelotti's going to come in, and it looks very, very possible that Zlatan Ibrahimovic could be one of his first signings. So, you know, football is crazy, but, you know, and I think back onto the point, which was nothing about Keenan Iwobi, I think Michael Keane again did struggle yesterday. He struggled positional wise, and he struggled positional wise a couple of times over the last 2 weeks. But, you know, now it's about the new manager coming in, and it's about Duncan Ferguson now for Saturday, working with those two players on the training ground and saying, right, we're going to iron out these mistakes and we're going to make sure that you're ready for Saturday's game. Because although Arsenal are in poor form, they might have a new manager by Saturday, Mikel Arteta. It's a new feeling around the place. It's if Mikel Arteta does come in, it'll be his first game as Arsenal manager. So listen, for me, it is going to be a tough game, but I honestly really do expect a massive reaction from the team. Kev says, do we really want Ancelotti? Seems another bad move, desperation. I really do, to be honest with you, mate. And yes, there is worries there, but I think there's worries under any manager that would get. Wayne says, because we want him means we're getting new faces in January. Does look very possible. Carl says, love that performance yesterday. Even though we lost, we showed fight and passion. Love this club up the Blues. Exactly, and that's what we want to see. Wayne says, tossing on first pen now should have been Baines. Well, you know, Baines on the second one, he missed this as well. You know, very rarely does Leighton Baines miss penalties, and when he does, it tends to be in cup quarter-finals, in shootouts. You know, he missed one against, I think it was Chelsea in the same situation a few years back. And yesterday, but at the end of the day, you know, we can't really sit there and criticise Leighton Baines for missing a penalty, because he scored one of the best goals. I think if you were at Goodison Park yesterday, I think it was probably one of the best goals you'll ever witness live. Unfortunately, like I said, I wasn't, so it was one of the best goals I've ever witnessed watching through a replay. And, you know, in the 91st minute to get us back into the game. What a player Leighton Baines is, by the way. Leighton Baines hasn't played first team football consistently for 18 months, maybe even longer. Luca Deans, you know, obviously he's had a couple of games here and there where he's had to come out or he's had to be substituted, and Baines has had to come on here and there, but he hasn't played, you know, 2 or 3 consistent Premier League games for however long, and he steps in, you know, yesterday he stepped in against Manchester United, and he looks like he's never been out the team consistently, can still run. Yeah, he hasn't got, you know, as much pace as he once had. Yeah, he probably hasn't got as much stamina as he once had, but he's still getting up and down, he's still creating chances, he's still defending, and he's still putting the ball, rifling the ball into the top corner from 25 yards like he does. And for me, if you're even going to chat to me that Ashley Cole's the best left back in the Premier League here because of the trophies he's won. Look at Leighton Baines' stats personally, and now try and come at me because he's absolutely unbelievable. And again, he showed that still an absolute class footballer, and a footballer that again means an awful lot to this club. Anthony Gordon having loads of praise for him on Twitter yesterday, saying he was his idol growing up and it was an absolute dream to play with him. Anthony Gordon as well, another special shout out for him, obviously coming on for his debut. Moise Keane, like I mentioned before, Anthony Gordon come on and done really, really well. I think he done well to attack back, and I think he done well when he's going forward as well, and I think he's only got a bright future ahead of him at this football club, and hopefully he's involved in some form on Saturday on the bench, and maybe even comes on if we're winning the game, because he was massively proud of that moment yesterday, and I think a lot of us were as well to see that. Kev says he's not used to tackling over teams this poor in managerial career. He's not, but it's a new challenge for him, of course. Cal says, Kev, what about Regina? Wayne says, what was the point in signing Delph, mate? He needs to go first before Nias buying a living. He's injured, isn't he? I think Delph's played okay when he's played. Obviously, he's injured at the minute, and there's not much we can do about that. I don't think Delph will be on the list to leave, but you never know. Carlo Ancelotti might come in, and he might have his own players that are ready to come in and take over. You really don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. Carl says Delph will thrive under Ancelotti. I think a lot of players will thrive under Ancelotti. Guarav says, do you think Everton should reject Ancelotti and make Ferguson manager? No. Kev says, I just want us to give Ferguson the season and make the proper appointment to Wolfsburg manager. Fair point, but it looks like it is going to be Ancelotti. Wayne says Delph will thrive in hospital. Hernandez says you should go back and watch from minute 70 forward. A tear left my eye when Baines hit that shot. We had terrible and penalty shootout, so I knew it was coming. Going to 4-3-3 worked well. It did. Eric says this is why I hate 4-4-2, because you get always outnumbered in the midfield. I hope we don't play 4-4-2 versus Arsenal. Fair point. He does like a 4-4-2 though. Does our Duncan. Kev says yeah, we've always been awful in penalty shootouts. We have. That's fact. Carl says team against Arsenal. Pickford, Sidibe, Mina, Holgate, Baines, Davis, Gordon, Gylfi, Iwobi, DCL and Richarlison. We'll have to see if Sidibe's fit, we'll have to see if Gylfi's fit. It's all about fitness at the minute, isn't it? Because we're struggling to get, I think, 18 players fit, 18 Premier League quality players fit every week. If you're enjoying the team, by the way, please do hit that like button. It means a massive amount to me. Carl's think Ancelotti when Ancelotti comes on, Keane's the starting striker. He is a big fan of Moise Keane, and I do believe he'll work well with him. Eric says, you're 100% sure Ancelotti will be our manager? I'm not 100% sure, because anything can fall through, but according to journalists and according to reports, he's been in Napoli today to finalise the little bits and bobs that he needs to do with his contract and get rid of his current contract, which will mean he's free to sign his Everton contract whenever. Sky adamant that he's going to be signed before the weekend and announced on Monday, and he'll be there at Goodison Park, but we'll just have to wait and see. Carl says Eric, he's going to the Everton game on Saturday, hopefully. Kev says I don't want him, he's used to spend teams quality with loads of dollars to spend. I think we have loads of dollars to spend, if I'm being perfectly honest with you, but we'll have to wait and see, won't we? We'll have to wait and see. Where are we? Carl says, Kev, how is Regina wasn't? He also says Juventus at the time had been crap. He made them sick. Do your research. Pally also took over the Napoli team that's only ever won 2 league titles. Everton have won 9. So, he's managed big European teams. But what we have to remember is it's very, very easy for teams in other leagues to get in Europe when, your league's full of shite. And there's, 4 or 5 European places, 4 or 5 Champions League places in some, leagues, and there's 2 or 3 decent teams in them. And, obviously in the Premier League, it's a lot different. Carl says, we have quality, Richarlison, Bernard, Davis, Iwobi, Gylfi, Mina, and we have a lot of money to spend. Wayne, not a fan of Iwobi and Sigurdsson. Jonathan says, we also need to sell a few. We do. Carl says, them 3 games that Iwobi played, Cam, he was class. He has to play. He had to play on the wing. He did. And yeah, I absolutely agree. We had Iwobi's best position for me as central attacking midfield, and I think he plays well when he plays at central attacking midfield, but he hasn't. I don't think he's had enough opportunities playing there, to be perfectly honest with you. But anyway, yeah, like we said, listen, yesterday, I think it was a case of tired legs. I think it was a case of players not quite being able to keep up that intensity. We played 48 hours ago, 72 hours ago, and we'll play again on Saturday, and it'll be difficult on Saturday as well, because again, Duncan Ferguson will demand hard work, he'll demand fight, he'll demand passion, and from what we've seen, these lads put in 2 real 90 minutes of hard, tough work, and you've got 3 of them that have come out of it absolutely bollocks and out injured for however many weeks, 2 of them that have got an illness as well. So it will be tough on Saturday, but yesterday, like I said, I think what we can take out of it is, despite the loss on penalty shootouts, despite the overall heartbreak of being out the Carabao Cup, despite the fact that it was a massive opportunity for us to win a trophy this season and for us to move on as a football club, and it is disappointing. What we have to look at is the way in which we lost the game, and the way in which we were knocked out, and for me, I think we done ourselves proud, and I think we can hold our head high there to go in at half time, and to be down 2-0 and to, you know, for it to look like it being, you know, game set match and game over, Duncan Ferguson to get the lads in at half time and rile them up and tell them that this isn't good enough and you need to go out and you need to perform, and the lads actually then show that on the pitch and to get back into a game in the manner that we did with 2 really, really good goals. You know, Leighton Baines is an absolute peach and Tom Davies is a really, really well worked goal and a fantastic finish as well, and it's a shame that, you know, them 2 goals didn't end up getting the win, because I think they deserved the win, if I'm being honest with you. But listen, at the end of the day, you know, it's not the end of the world. We're still in the FA Cup. Granted, we play Liverpool, but like I said, you know, play Liverpool in the first week of January. We could have a new manager in there. You know, Ancelotti is very likely to come in before that time, according to every journalist on the planet. You know, Ibrahimovic is being rumoured to be in there as well, and if Zlatan Ibrahimovic is starting up front for Everton against Liverpool, I'd be quite confident, because Zlatan Ibrahimovic isn't a player that'll care that he's playing Liverpool. He's not a player that'll worry about playing at Anfield. He's not a player that'll genuinely care, you know, that he won't be tied up in the emotion of a Merseyside derby. And I still, although he's, you know, 38 years old and, you know, people say he might be finished, I still think he's capable of bagging you 15-20 goals a season if he's given the opportunity. And you know, that at the end of the day, all I'm going to say is Zlatan Ibrahimovic's first game for LA Galaxy was in the LA derby, and he scored one from about 45 yards to win them the game, I think it was, or he definitely scored for 45 yards, don't know whether he won the game, but that's all I'm saying. If he can do that at Anfield, you know, in the 90th minute, in front of the Kop for Everton, then I think I'll be on the match of the action, just lying down, basically just going, oh my god, for like 10 minutes straight. That's all I'll be saying. But anyway, yeah, like I said, listen, yesterday was gutting, but if you're going to lose a game, lose it, you know, show fight and show urgency and show passion, and show that you actually, it means something to you and you want to go out and you want to win. And for the players to be so gutted after the game, and for the players to be genuinely so down, it shows that it meant something to them. And like I said, we just lacked that little bit of quality in the end of the day yesterday, and Leicester are on fantastic form, and Leicester are a very, very good team, so that's understandable. But like I said, I wouldn't have taken, you know, the lads going in at half time at 2-0 and then letting their heads drop and conceding another 2 and strolling off the pitch saying, oh well, we were tired. The only way I'd have accepted not winning that game is if we massively got back into it by fighting and then lost via pure luck, and let's be honest, that, well, pure unluck, and let's be honest, that's what happened, didn't it? When you lose on a penalty shootout, it's nothing more than luck, really, and 2 poor penalties for Everton sealed the deal, and you know, we're out the Carabao Cup for another year. But we're still in the FA Cup. Obviously that'll be a much more difficult tie. You know, Liverpool at Anfield is notoriously a difficult time. We don't do well there notoriously, but we've still got the league to look forward to as well. And overall, as an Evertonian, I think it's a real positive time. You know, even straight after the game, Sky were reporting that Ancelotti's, you know, will be there on Saturday and should be announced by Monday. So despite the loss yesterday, I think we have to appreciate what Duncan Ferguson's done for the football club and what Duncan Ferguson's done for, you know, for us fans. He's made us feel like it's one of us standing on that touchline. He's made us feel like Everton have gone out and said, listen, we're going to have a fan managing the team for 3 weeks, because that's exactly what it seemed like. The pure passion, the pure excitement, the pure energy, the tears when, you know, when we're doing well, even the tears yesterday, the disappointment on his face. He looked absolutely gutted. It wasn't, you know, he wasn't there in his post-game interview with a straight face just going, yeah, could have done better. He looked absolutely gutted, and that's the type of emotion that, you know, we like to see as fans, because that's how we feel as well. And we lose, you know, we win as a team and we lose as a team, don't we? But I think the division starts to come in when, you know, certain players, certain managers don't really care when you're losing. But, you know, it's very, very clear that all of those players yesterday cared, and so did Duncan Ferguson. And I think what it's about now is moving on and, like I said, picking ourselves back up and going again against Arsenal. And that's exactly what Duncan Ferguson said. He said to the players after the game, you know, it's guttering and it's, you know, it's upsetting and it's disappointing, but pick yourself up and we go again against Arsenal, because we need the win on Saturday. We really, really do. Back into the live comments, Kev says, I don't think there's quality and we're not going to be spending 170 million on a player. Who knows, mate? Mbappe to Everton, who knows? I'm probably getting a bit too ahead of myself there, aren't I? Cal says, Eric, is going to the Everton game on Saturday? Oh no, I've read that one. Cal says, Ancelotti never spent more than 100 million before. Maybe it's time for the change. Cal says, Gylfi's one of our best players. He had a bad run of form, but since he got sacked, he's been one of our best players. He looked like the Gylfi from last season. He definitely has been working harder, I'll tell you that. Meatball1878 says, has he ever been played under Big Dunk? He played against Chelsea. He played the 90 against Chelsea, and he was absolutely fantastic. Kev says, Ancelotti was seen in the chippy and Bootle getting chips and scallops. I actually seen him in the Black Horse before, having a few scoops, so pretty much confirmed, isn't it? Nobody messing. Don't take that as any. It's not confirmed whatsoever at all. Yeah. Mac and G says, well, we're being played in the wrong position. He's not a winger, and he clearly gets too tired on the wing. He's a central player. Couldn't agree more, mate. Carl says he played Chelsea and was throwing in tackles and putting in the balls. Shooting from distance, he looked confident. Exactly, confidence is key. Meatball says he's only played 1 game. No, yeah, but to be fair, we've only had 3 underdunk and he's been ill for 2 of them. Carl says Baines is just magical, 35, age define, exactly, spot on. Best left back in the Premier League era. Eric says the Zlatan rumours worries me, signing a 38-year-old who's finished, who left Manchester United because he's done, will be a massive mistake. I hope it's not true. Fair play. I think it's mixed reactions, you know, from Evertonians about the potential of signing Ibrahimovic. You know, I'll mention it in a future video. I dare say he won't be signed by, you know, the middle of next week, so we'll do a video on that topic. Carl says this is boss. Thing is, fans want Dunk, he is boss, but won't last. Once we lose, he would just keep losing. We'll see how we react on Saturday against Arsenal. He also says Eric left Man U because he got offered a 20 million a year deal, which is true in America. Skin says come on Leicester. I hope you made up, fella. Good source says, hey Cam, what's your thoughts on Keane being totally bullied by your game? Basically, I think Keane needs to get in the gym and show more aggression. I think Keane's a confidence player, and I would agree. I think Keane probably does need to get in the gym, show a little bit more aggression, and think get that drilled into him. I don't think Keane's an aggressive player. Like I said, I think he's a player that plays on via confidence, and when he's not confident, I think he struggles massively. And you know, for me, when Keane's at his best and he's confident, I think he's a really good centre half. But when he's not, he struggles. He does, but whether Ancelotti or whoever comes in can manage that, you know, we'll have to wait and see. Josh's predictions for Arsenal, Cam, I'm going to go 3-1 Everton. Eric says, I hope Ancelotti comes in for the right reasons. It worries me that he'll be the 3rd highest paid manager in the world. That's kind of mad. I think he will be coming in for the right reasons, hopefully. Well, I think he will. Cal says, Keane is class, but him and me and about partnership. Fair enough. Skin says, don't knock it, mate. We said the same about Ranieri. Exactly, and we won them the league. Kev says, Zlatan a bit desperate. That to me, I think it is to a lot of Evertonians, but imagine Zlatan Ibrahimovic being an Everton player. But there is a lot of pluses and negatives to think to that. Cal says, Zlatan's one of the best Europe, is still one of Europe's best strikers. Fair point. Good Soul says, need some players back for Saturday. As you said earlier, look tired. We need to have some fresh players in. Come on. We do. Kev says, just want what's good for the club. We've been here many times over the past 5 years. Spot on, we have. Carl says, people say MLS is easy. The 35-year-old score a scorpion karate kicks. We never had a manager of Ancelotti's quality. We haven't. He'll be the most successful manager Everton have had, and the highest paid manager Everton have had as well in terms of his CV. Most successful, obviously. Eric says, I hope the Everton board tell Ancelotti you cannot buy players over 30. Please, Everton, don't buy Zlatan. There's a difference between MLS and the Premier League. He left the Premier League because he is done. Fair point. Paul says, gutted lad, we had to play Villa over 2 legs and getting in the final. Exactly, that's just how it is for Everton, innit? Carl says, you need old players for experience. You need experienced players. Kev says, there's old and there's players that were on FIFA 96. Eric says, would have loved Arteta and Duncan as our manager. He's going to go to Arsenal. He probably will be in the dugout to Goodison on Saturday, but it won't be for Everton. Paul says, Zlatan on a free and James Rodriguez on loan in January. And Eugene says, Everton will beat Arsenal this Saturday. I do hope so. He goes 4-0. Don't know about that, but I do hope so. I certainly do hope so. Anyway, that's going to do for today's live team. If you have enjoyed, please do hit that like button. It only takes a second. Overall, a guttering way to lose the game, but really inspiring to see the lads fighting back and getting back into the game and showing that passion and showing that fight. And if, I think that's something that we can take from the game and something positive. Obviously, looking forward now to the game against Arsenal on Saturday. If you have enjoyed, please do hit that like button. It only takes a second as well. If you're new to the channel, please do subscribe. Get the video and live stream share. The big thanks for everybody for in the live comments. As per usual, if you're watching as a YouTube video, leave your comments below and I'll be replying to those all night as well. Like I said, don't forget to join me tomorrow, 6 PM for the live game preview of the Arsenal game, of course, on Saturday morning. We'll have loads of stuff. We'll have the predicted start 11 and we'll talk loads more about what could potentially be Duncan Ferguson's last game in charge of Everton for quite some time. Obviously, after the Arsenal game, we'll have the instant match reaction straight away. We'll have the live game review on Monday as well, and then we'll have loads more content leading into what's probably going to be another manic week for Everton next week. And hopefully, if rumours are right, we might have a new manager by Monday, and it might be in the form of arguably the most successful manager currently still managing in football. Good Soul says, nice one, Cam. Thank you very much, Good Soul. Kev says, good luck, Blues. Enjoy your weekend. Thank you very much, you too, Kev. And you says, see you by Up the Blues. Yeah, definitely. Up the Toffee, sorry. Yes, definitely. Big thanks for watching. Please do hit that like button if you have enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. I'll see you tomorrow at 6 PM for the live game preview of the Arsenal game. Up the Toffees. Come on, Duncan. Let's have it. Thanks for watching. Leave a like if you have enjoyed. See you soon.